Hello Oracles, and happy Friday. What a great way to end the week. I actually got to break out the green shirt. That made me very happy. So let's see how this weekend goes. Again, tomorrow morning I will be on as soon as the numbers come out for production and deliveries. So I'll put my numbers together and then I'll put a video out to share that with you guys in the morning. But for today, we were up green across the board. Tesla was up 1.25%. The indices were all up about 1% each. So a great way to finish the week. I actually did sell off some of my, I would say my underperformers, things I'm trying to get rid of. So I sold some of my more expensive shares of some of the stocks I wanted to get out of, like BNGO, Nano Dimension, BODY, and Sunlight Financial. So BODY I'm going to hold on because I'm a Beachbody coach and I like the company, but I was just trying to free up a little bit of cash. Wasn't a lot, but I sold out a little, 5 shares of each of those just to free up that cash. So now I'm sitting at about 9.5% cash, and I've got 62% Tesla, and I'm just going to kind of monitor the market because I'm seeing some stories about, going into what we are going to be anticipating is a earnings recession, and that's going to most likely bring the market down a little bit further. So they're looking like 3,400 is a number that a lot of people are looking at for the S&P 500. Whether we're going to get there or not, I don't know, but I want to be prepared just in case. We talked about it yesterday, being prepared for the worst and hoping for the best. This is my way of preparing for the worst. Now, we may still get a little bit of a run between now and then. We might get, we've got the CPI data coming out on July 13th, so we might see a little bit of green next week before we start getting closer to CPI. Don't know, so I'll take a look closer at some of the technical analysis over the weekend. But again, looking at long term, we still have the Fed raising rates, still have high inflation, still a lot of negative sentiment in the market and negative reality in the market if we're being realistic. So just a lot of real negative things going on right now. So we can go anywhere and I just want to be ready for it. And so tomorrow we've got the delivery and production numbers coming out of Tesla. And today we had gotten some news from GM. They actually halted shares being traded this morning pre-market because of the bad news that they were coming out with. And they were coming out with, negative reports for their earnings and saying they're going to be very bad. Now looking at Tesla, we know that Tesla's earnings are not going to be good. Shanghai was down for a month. Austin and Berlin are slow to ramp. Elon all along the way, and people get upset because Elon says these things. But think about it. What other company are you going to be getting real-time information about the company that you can actually invest off of? Elon said it's going to be bad, and we knew this, and he gave us reasons why it was going to be bad. We knew this. With GM, they had no idea until all of a sudden today, like, by the way, we're going to have a bad earnings report. Like, well, thanks. Elon lets us know all along the way. So there's really not a lot of surprises that we get hit with when we get to earnings reports. So for those of you who don't like when he says these things, personally, I do like it because, sure, in the moment when he says them, the stock is going to react, but it's either going to react then or it's going to react when we get to the earnings report. It's one way or another it's going to happen. At least we know ahead of time where the company stands before we get to the earnings report. One of the things I learned as a manager is if we get to a review time or a sit-down meeting with someone and that person doesn't know what to expect at the meeting or that review, then I haven't done my job as a manager because I should have been managing all along the way. This is how Elon runs things. Investors know how things are going all along the way because he lets us know. So when we get to earnings reports, when we get to production and delivery numbers, we basically know what's going on. So with GM, they let out this information about a shock, and they're saying it's due to the supply chain issues that are still going on and supply chain issues that are going to continue going forward. So, obviously Tesla's been dealing with this, and the reality of the situation, and I want to take a step back. Obviously, I'm a huge Tesla bull. Tesla has proven over the last 2 years that they can overcome the supply chain issues better than anyone else. But realistically, Legacy Auto does deliver significantly more vehicles than Tesla did. So that's naturally going to hit them even harder with supply chain issues because they have a lot more vehicles that they're trying to produce and deliver. So again, going forward, if Tesla was trying to produce and deliver as many vehicles as Legacy Auto was, they would have struggled significantly also. Now, Tesla does prove that they can do things a lot better and they can get around these things and solve those challenges a lot better. So honestly, it would have been nice to see, let's say this happens again and Tesla is delivering as many vehicles as Legacy Auto is, So who would fare better? I still think Tesla would, because they have that vertical integration to prove why they are better than everyone else. Now we've got some reports coming out saying that by 2025, GM and Ford are going to overtake Tesla in market share. Now we've already heard this about VW saying that they're going to overtake Tesla in market share in 2024 and 2025 by delivering 2 million vehicles, which, by the way, Tesla is going to deliver over 2 million vehicles in 2023. So obviously that math doesn't add up. Now looking at GM and Ford, taking a look at market share. So again, we've talked about it the other day where there's no EV market share in my opinion. There's just an automotive market share, and we're shifting to EVs. So if you want to look at the automotive market share, let's say, last year was 66 million vehicles, so let's say it's 70 million vehicles that are going to be delivered worldwide for the entire automotive industry. So if Tesla's going to have 11% of the EV market share, let's say EV adoption at that point is 40%. So if we have 40% EV adoption in 2025 and Tesla has 11% of that market share, that's 3 million vehicles that Tesla would be delivering in 2025. That is 25% below where I have them at 4 million vehicles in 2025. And so even if EV adoption is 50% in 2025, that's still only 3.5 million vehicles to Tesla. So this is significantly short of what is reality going to be going forward. And not only that, but GM and Ford both have their predictions for the future, and for 2025, neither of them have 3 million vehicles delivered as their goal. So looking at the math, how is it possible that GM and Ford could possibly take over market share from Tesla when Tesla is going to be delivering 11% according to them, which would be 3 million, which the 3 million is more than what they said. Their numbers don't even add up when they're coming up with these things, so it makes no sense. Obviously, I don't agree with them, which is why I'm so passionate about this right now. So I see all of these headlines and I see these stories and I just shake my head because I'm like, GM and Ford put out their goals for 2025. Neither of them say that they're going to hit 2 million vehicles, yet you're saying that Tesla's going to have 11% of the EV market. Now let's say maybe in their scenario, the EV adoption is going to be less than 40%. Maybe they're thinking 30%. But when you go to those numbers, it's like, is that even real? Because if everybody around the world and all these legacy automotive makers and the startups are really pushing for EVs, we're already seeing that the EV adoption rate is over 10% here in the US. It's almost 95% in Norway. Actually, I think it's higher than that now. So when we have this huge movement going forward and it's going to grow exponentially, 40% of EV adoption by 2025 is pretty realistic. Elon's goal himself was 50% EV adoption by 2027. So if that's the case, 40% in 2025 could make sense. Either way, in order for GM, Ford, or VW to be able to overtake Tesla when it comes to EVs around the world, it would require a total collapse by Tesla over the next 2 years just to allow for Legacy Auto to be able to catch up. And Legacy Auto would have to really push things forward. And GM over here pumping out 12 EV Hummers a day is really going to get them to that goal. So I honestly cannot see that happening. Anything is possible. I am a huge Tesla bull, so I can't see it happen, but I always like to say there's always a chance. So I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I just can't fathom it. I cannot fathom that actually happening. So either way, really looking forward to the production and delivery numbers we're going to get tomorrow, because that's going to give us some good insight into what's going to happen when we get to Q3. Now, having a good conversation with, I can't remember who it was, and I apologize, in the comments about the fact that when we get to the production and delivery numbers tomorrow, they're going to be kind of inflated, and we knew this. With the last push that we had over the last couple of weeks, if we had these huge pushes out of Austin, is that really sustainable if that actually happened? So some numbers may be a little bit off, but the numbers we get out of Shanghai should be pretty true, and the numbers we get out of Fremont should also be pretty true. I don't know if we're going to get breakdowns from Austin and Berlin, so we'll have to try and decipher this when we get the numbers in the morning. So once we get that, I'll break it down and I'll share it with you guys, and it may take me a little time to digest it as well, so I'll probably have a video for my initial reaction for it, and then I'll break it down further over the weekend to give you guys a little more insight as to what I'm coming up with And I'll check with everybody in on Twitter because there's going to be lots of conversations going on to break this all down. And I'll listen to what you guys have to say with your feedback to gather all this information to really kind of put together what I can see for the future for Q3 and Q4 of this year. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you guys think the EV adoption rate is going to be in 2025? And do you think that any legacy auto is actually going to have a chance to overtake Tesla when it comes to EVs and the EV market share that they're talking about? Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is in the description down below. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, I am over on Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.